So apparently you don't need to identify with your ID or use a channel for 2 months for YouTube to stop thinking that you're a scammer. So you just need to upload some shorts. So I saw some impressions on the second video. The first video is still in jail. The second video got some impressions and 2 views. So for the sake of those 2 people, I just wanted to add this little text so that anyone that clicks on these videos can listen to the monstrosity, to experience the monstrosity that is my speech, and then decide that they don't want to watch. Cause that's whatever. And I just remembered the second video. When watching it back, I realized that I say too much. So I'm making it a rule to reduce the amount of that I say. And fuck. Since I've been talking for 10 minutes and I realized that I wasn't recording. I pressed the button. It's buggy, so sometimes it doesn't start. And I had the feeling that it didn't start, but I wanted to ignore it. And look where that got me. But for the past 10 minutes that weren't recorded, I was actually, I think, talking really well, which annoys me even more because now it's gone. So I'm just going to retell everything that I did. The first thing I said was I forgot. But let me try to remember what I said. So I said that I was watching the video back, and then I realized something that was not a very pleasant experience to me. I realized that the first sketch I did on day 2 was the best out of all of them. And then I spent all this time just drawing worse versions of this. Now the reason for that is I had a very big brain fart. I thought that the pelvis would be down here and up here. Now this is very stupid because this leg is standing on the ground, pressing down on the ground, while this one is up on the air, and I thought about it. That is why this one, the pelvis here needs to be up because the leg is pressing down. That's the logic behind legs, I think. So I got this, and I did some mining off camera. I finished the sketch, and as you can see, the angle is completely gone. It became an eye level angle yet again. This is probably due to the fact that I'm not very good at this. So I just need some practice. So pissed that the 10 minutes I talk real well were not recorded, and the time that I'm talking real bad has to be recorded now. But I sketched this, and not on the same day, but probably the day after I colored it. And I've been trying to come up with a coloring way that doesn't suck the life out of me. And apparently coloring is really easy when you don't try to draw actual line art and don't really worry about going over the lines. And so this is the drawing that I got from our first little prompt. And now I realize that I I had a few things I mentioned before I got to the sketching part. So this practice was supposed to be a daily practice, but I did the second video, the second practice of this, and the day after I sat down to practice, and I started talking. I started recording, and I was talking really good, just like I was before today. I talked for 5 minutes. I was going really good, and I was also feeling not annoyed by this practice. So everything was going well for me. And then I had a feeling. I tried to ignore it, but I couldn't. And when I checked back, I realized that the mic was off. Now this isn't my problem, because if you record with the inbuilt iOS recording stuff, the whether you had the mic on or off stays as the last recording. So so I assumed the mic would be on, and it wasn't, because it bugged out probably. So I still was in good spirits. So I stopped the recording, and I thought I would just wait for it to save and then delete it, then start practicing again. Because so that I wouldn't get distracted by the notification, and that I would delete it and avoid potential storage issues. So I waited 5 minutes. I waited 10 minutes. And then I waited 15 minutes. It still was not there. And at that point, I was just so annoyed with everything that I stopped. I was so annoyed with everything that I stopped practicing. The day after, I wasn't really feeling like practicing, so I didn't do it. And after that, I don't remember how many days it has been, so I can't really find excuses for those days, because I don't remember their existence. But that is why I haven't been practicing. And now, if I were to get back to the sketch, I colored this, and there are a few mistakes with this practice that I want to point out, because I can see them. And there are other mistakes that I can't see at the moment, because I'm not good enough to see that. But those ones don't concern me. I'm going to point out the ones that I can see. And the first mistake that I was conscious about as I was making it is this shadow here. The problem with this is the light is kind of confusing, because I made some mistakes with that too. But the light, I think, is supposed to be coming from here. So the shadow would be around here. But I started doing the shadows after I did the background color. I was like, it could be a cool effect if I added the shadows and made it look like she was coming out of the colored background. So I realized that if the shadow was here, it wouldn't make sense. So that's why I consciously made the decision to make wrong shadows, I think. Because I don't know, I'm really bad with shadow placements and stuff. And I guess what I could do is make this white and then make the outside colored, but I don't know what. I don't think it will look good. And other problems with this drawing is that the the arms are a bit too similar to each other. I don't think I can change much about this arm, as is in a pretty practical position. But this one, maybe I could make it, a little bit down, because it doesn't really matter. But I think the hand would still be, it will still be in the same position. It will just be down. The other problem is obviously the angle. And another problem is that I didn't know the shadows for the hair. And also here, the lights and the shadows are just completely stupid. They don't make sense. And my brain is kind of busy at the moment because I'm mourning the 10 minutes that I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. So I'm so sad because I actually talk really good, and it was gone the moment I noticed that I didn't record. I forgot everything, so it's not like I was able to retell and still had the same performance. But this was as stiff and boring it looks. It has a heart-shaped hair, so does it really matter? I don't think so. And I don't think I have more to say about this. I thought of making the paper an off-white color too, but I wasn't sure about which, so I kept it fully white. And this was the pose that I ended up with. Honestly, I was very stupid about all this time. Basically, the whole second talking practice video that I spent drawing when the first sketch was good enough, and the ones I drew in this section was a stupid one, the one where the palace is up here and down here, which doesn't make sense at all. But this was a drawing, and today I have a lot of stuff to talk about, so maybe I won't even draw today. But the first thing I wanted to talk about is that in this video I had a joke planned and I completely forgot to make it. So this is a drawing from years ago, and I painted this on Ibis Paint, and I didn't use a grid method or color. I didn't use color picking either, but this actually turned way better than most observational drawings or paintings I do. Most of the time I can get the general idea, and when you look at them both, they look like the same thing, but the thing about them is that I do a really good job at making a mockery of the actual thing. So it's not the exact same, but it looks coherent enough that it looks like the same. But this one actually looks pretty close to the original. So I was going to show this piece, practice, and write this as a joke, but I forgot to. So I was sad about this because I really wanted to make it. And I completely forgot when I was editing the part in the intro where I show a bunch of my own observational drawings. What did I even say? Whatever, I forgot to make this joke. And there's another thing I forgot to make in this video, add in this video. So near the end of this video, I have an analogy of why you would need to learn how to draw the human figure from various different angles. And the analogy was supposed to be about animating, but I'm pretty stupid, so I forgot and made it about comic making. And it doesn't make sense for comic making, because when you're making comics, you still have some time to make 3D models of the poses you're drawing. So the analogy didn't make sense for comic making. It made sense for animation, because you have to draw the same pose multiple times from different angles. So you need a pretty good understanding of perspective for animation. But no one pointed it out. So I guess I'm only averagely stupid. I'm not too stupid. So that is the other thing I forgot about this. And this is a new practice that I'm doing, where there's this app that is for practicing painting portraits, and it gives you heads with neck. You can randomize the neck angle and randomize the light source, and randomize the perspective of everything. So the app is actually 2 gigabytes. So I just took a bunch of screenshots and deleted it. But I'm planning to paint a bunch of these, because I realized that I really suck at drawing faces, because I haven't done any face drawings for the past year or more. So I'm going to be passively practicing to draw and paint faces, but it's only going to be non-realistic, because I don't want to. It's going to be a lot of time until I can study face anatomy, because I have very bad discipline. So, and when I do passive practices like these, it makes the before and after, it makes the difference and the improvement seem less significant. So I don't like doing it. This is kind of stupid. This is going to sound stupid, but I've turned. Think of a gym person, a bodybuilder that is new. Now this person is new to bodybuilding, but they are very passionate. So they are very passionate, and they want to take progress pictures. So since they haven't started training their arms, they refuse to bring their arms up. They refuse to bring their arms up because it would make their progress pictures less significant. So this is the dumb situation that my brain is in. I don't want to draw anything before I study it. I'm becoming very stupid, but that is the illogical state my brain is in at the moment. Now this painting, I think, is getting carried a lot by the fact that Miku's hair is kind of blue, green, and then I added this pink here. So it is getting carried by the colors, which is a surprise because I really suck at colors. But this head is not in the same angle as this one because I sucked at this one, so I had to look for a lot until I get to this point. But I probably shouldn't talk about this one much because I'm going to make a separate video talking about these. And I think tomorrow I can test talking about my own time lapses and stuff tomorrow with the first 10 photo paintings that I did last week and the week before that. But this one I want to mention one thing, and that is, I don't know, this one was in the sketch and I didn't get rid of it because I wasn't thinking. I didn't want to bother with it, and I should have either made it in light or just gotten completely rid of it because it looks pretty stupid. But I think it looks better when it's in light than when it's raised. But the other complaints I have with this drawing is going to be in the actual video. Another small complaint I have is that I made this color here. You can't see it much, but I made it a bit too dark and saturated, which made it look burnt. So that is another complaint. These are the 3 complaints. And the thing about another thing I forgot to say is that when doing facial anatomy studies and other stuff related to faces, I'm going to take my face drawings and paintings before these practices as the starting point. So these are going to be a passive practice I did. These are going to be mentioned as passive practice that I did before the anatomical practices for the face that I did. So I'm going to count the drawings before this as the before. And I think this is all that I wanted to say about this painting. I want to do these daily, but I'm too not disciplined enough for that, so I'm probably going to be doing them every other day. And today, the mic, which is the earpods or whatever they're not clipped to my hoodie. They're clipped to my hair. So they're not clipped to the hoodie. And I just noticed, I just had a thought that when I scratch my head, since they're connected to my hair, it probably picks it up as a really loud sound. And I'm really sorry about that, even though no one is watching. I didn't think of that. And I scratch my head pretty frequently because I'm bored, so I scratch it. When I try to think like a stupid comical character, I scratch my head. So I'm going to try to stop doing that. And the reason I don't have my hoodie on is because apparently summer has come. And I don't want it to come. I really don't like summer. This is me. How do I draw me? Face running away from the sun. This is me. Maybe this makes more sense now. I hate sun because it makes my iPad hot, which burns my palm, and which also makes every app lag. And then the bugs exist and they annoy me. After that, I just sweat a lot, like everyone does. So I really don't like summer. And if you go out, summer is probably fun, but I drove. And as a lot of people that drove, I don't like going out. So I'm really sad today because the summer has come. And I probably need to change my daily structure so that I can at least get some work done. I probably need to go start living in a vampire life. How do vampires look? It's a pretty vampire hair. I will start needing to live a vampire life so that I can avoid getting burns from my iPad. Or maybe what I thought today was I get an ice block, the ones with that are like bottles, and then I put it behind my iPad, which is not that big actually. I drew it too big. Like this. Maybe this would make sense. I will try this one actually because I'm tired of getting burnt from the stupid tablet. And regarding my stupid tablet, I was doing this piece and it's not looking good. Not only is it not looking good, I don't even know where I can go from this because I hit the layer capacity and I don't know which layers I can flatten so that I can keep moving. I don't know what to do. So I've been stuck and not touching this piece for the past few days. And another problem I have with this piece is that everything else is very light except the hair, which just makes the ugly piece even more ugly because it's not balanced. So I was venting about this on Instagram stories and someone commented that I should make it light blue. The problem with that is that I'm not that good. So I don't know how to do that and make it look correct. Make it look like the same color. I don't know. But I thought of that on my own too before I got the comment. So I was trying to adjust layers. And every time I tried to make it a light blue, it looked very non-real and stupid and cartoonish, like I was trying to make fun of her hair. So I desaturated the layer a lot and got this gray, which fit the situation a lot because this piece just aged me 50 years in one day. So I can't even continue drawing this dumb piece because I don't know what to do with the layers. And even if I fix the fingers here, I don't think this arm makes sense at all. Like, it's too short for a forearm to fit in. It doesn't make sense. But I guess since it still looks better than the initial sketch that I had from years ago, my point still stands. So I don't know if people will give me flag for it, because the reason I'm making this drawing is that I have an argument. That is, you need to learn perspective and forming perspective before you go into anatomy, because you won't be able to utilize the anatomy knowledge before you are able to draw form in various different perspectives. So that is my argument, and that is why I was drawing old sketches from years ago, so that I could make some grounds for my argument. And this piece is just messing me up. The other drawing that I did looks better, but it's a simpler perspective. Well, both of these are simpler perspectives. That one is a bit more simple. Other than the perspective mistakes, I think what I'm going to do is add more light here, like this, because even though I don't like the shape, so I'm going to fix it a little bit, and maybe some here too, because this is not in the shadow. The light is still coming in, so I'm going to do this when I get back to when I figure out the layer situation, and then I need to get rid of the shadow here. I don't know why I added that. I probably forgot to clean it up, and that's why it was stuck like that. But no, I don't remember where I and this the lips aren't cleaned either, so I need to clean those. And the eyes look so ugly. I just really don't know what I can do to this piece to stop it from looking so bad. And I don't even have layers to work with anymore. So I'm just going to make this and make some cheesy joke. But I like the shading of the face. And also I like the hair too. It just doesn't fit when everything else is just so light. It is like a sore thumb. So I don't like that. And maybe I thought that this area is too empty, but I don't really know what I can do more here. Maybe I need to add some shadow gradients here, like this. I think this is the most that I can do to this part of the shirt, because if you can, this part is very empty too. There aren't much wrinkles. If I only had wrinkles here, it's going to look weird. So I guess this is the most that I can do for that. If I can sort out the hair color situation, I think it's going to look less annoying. And maybe I can change the color of the shirt. Probably not. Maybe I add the logo back. I don't know. This is all that I have to say. And for the next batch of imaginative drawing prompts, we have gardening. Now, as I said, I already sketched some poses that I thought of. So now, what we have here is someone. I don't know the names for these tools actually, so I don't really know how I'm going to talk about this. But this one could be a stick angle, where this tool here is the main focus for this word of the piece. This one could be cool, but the pose we drew before was already a stunning one, and this one is too, so I don't know about that. This one is very boring. This one too, and this one too. This one is just cleaning the weeds, and this one is standing, so the same problem with this one, and probably this one too. This one I think is even though it's a standing pose, it's a up the waist angle, but I don't know if I can pull it off, because this hand is kind of separating the branches, and this one is cutting something after branches. Maybe they're cutting flowers, and it could be a nice thing, but I don't know if I have the brains to think of all the branches and stuff and make them separated. So I don't know about that. This one I thought of because if you make the if you I don't remember the word for putting plants into soil. I'm so stupid. But if you don't leave any space between them, they become really hard to pick, and you have to kind of walk very weirdly. So you have to kind of walk weirdly between lines to not hurt the plants. And this thing is hard to do with pants on. So I don't know why I added a skirt, a dress. I guess I just want to torture the character. And this one is cool. But I maybe instead of tomatoes, these are strawberries because they're more aesthetic. But I guess tomatoes are aesthetic in some parts too, in some parts of the world too. Because when I paint from photos, there has been 2 times when the reference I picked has the model eating a tomato. Now what this made me think of is that online discussion where someone said, since food prices went up in America, in the USA, I need to cut that out. Since food prices went up in the USA, there were going to be more photo shoots with fresh vegetables and fruits. Now, I think that argument is half bullshit and half makes sense. But what in return made me think is that most of the photos I picked to paint from are from East Asian photographers. And if I'm not making this up, I think foods like tomatoes aren't integrated into their cuisine. So it is kind of the same logic, I think, where it is still a nice prop for them to use in photography. I mean, they obviously have furs, local furs that they have integrated. They have in their daily lives, but I think they treat tomatoes as some sort of treat, like you would chocolates or other treats. So maybe that is why there are so many photographs with the model eating tomatoes, or why it is a trend for them, I guess. Cause I had painted 2 different models eating tomatoes without thinking, and then there were even more that was recommended to me by other models eating tomatoes. So I guess that's kind of the logic behind it. Now, I don't know if anything I said is true. I just tried to come up with something with my dumb brain. But maybe I can make this strawberries and it will look cool, and I can give her some nice little dress. And now that I think of this, maybe this can be a fairy themed photo shoot where, it's a fairy party and this girl is joining one of them and she's picking out strawberries. But the plants need to be way shorter, I think, because they would be real. If they were this big, it will be very hard to walk around. Other than these, No, I talk a lot and my voice is running out. As if it's some subsequent. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that word. I give up. But I can't pick. I think I want to either do this, or this. And I think I'm going to go with this because it's the easiest. And maybe this could be a fair party too, actually. I think about it, it could be nice. Especially if she's just like picking out roses. That could be a cool concept. But I really don't think I can pull it off. I'm not that smart. But I don't have much to say. I think I'm out of things to say or talk about. Oh, I guess I had some to talk about YouTube. So, if you upload some shorts, YouTube stops thinking that you are a scammer, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing. So you can upload some shorts to get your new channel from the jail. But the thing about shorts is I realized 100 views on TikTok equal to 200 views on Instagram. But on TikTok, on TikTok, on TikTok, 100 views, let's say, get 10 likes. But on Instagram, 200 views get 20 likes. So you just get overall at the start more views than TikTok. But after the initial phase, you get more on TikTok than on Instagram, especially if it goes kind of viral. Like it gets more than 50k views. TikTok is better than Instagram. But I realize these are, by the way, these are test views, so you are guaranteed to get these. And obviously, depending on, you can improve these guaranteed views. So if your account gets better, maybe you're guaranteed 300 views. And I don't know about IG, but the same happens with IG too. And on YouTube Shorts, I've noticed the test views are 1,000, but they take some time to roll out. But the test views are 1,000, but the likes are 10. So I guess 100 TikTok views, 100 TikTok views equal to 1,000 YouTube views. And the thing about YouTube Shorts is sometimes it won't roll out at all, but you can delete and repost it and it'll fix it. But I don't know if there is a cap at when YouTube will think you're spamming and will shadow ban you. I don't know about that one. But I've noticed sometimes YouTube gives like 200 views at first, and then after a few hours or maybe half a day, it goes to the 1,000 test views. While on TikTok and maybe IG, you just get the test views right after you post. So like in 10 minutes, you'll get these 100 views. So these are the stuff that I noticed about different kinds of short form content platforms. But I think I talked enough, and maybe the next video I'm either going to draw this, or maybe I'm going to make a test talk over the time lapses of the first 10 days of painting daily from photos, because I had some goals with those, though they're very clearly laid out, so I need to think about what were my goals before I can before I can point them out. I had some goals, but I didn't think of them concretely to be able to point them out. But I think this is good enough practice, honestly. So I'm going to cut this video. And I'm really bad at doing greetings, which makes it hard to start and end these practices. Maybe I need to practice that too.